Tonight's true scary story is so creepy, and it's about this girl who went through an entire month of just being haunted. This girl had a lot of creepy stuff happen to her. We're about to get into that, but before we start, if you guys could just smash that like button for me, I would really appreciate it, but only if you appreciate my work. So tonight's submitter did not tell me whether I could use her real name or not, so we are going to call her Riley for the story. Now, Riley has always had a connection to the spiritual side, as far back as she can remember. So it's not uncommon for her to see or hear things, but this month was completely different, and this also involved her friends and family. For the entire month, she had this impending sense of doom, and she constantly felt eyes on her. The first incident happened in her house with her sister. Now, her sister is 3 years younger than her, so naturally, they fight a lot. So on this particular day, Riley and her sister were getting ready. Now, they share a bedroom, and they don't like changing in front of each other. So Riley was trying to get upstairs first, but her sister beat her to it. So she was going to settle for changing in the bathroom, but she had to knock on her bedroom door to try to get her clothes first. She knocks on the bedroom door, and her sister starts yelling at her about waiting her turn, and she refuses to open the door and actually physically blocks the door with something so that she can't get in. So Riley decides that she's going to sit on the floor in front of the bedroom door. Now, from how she explained it to me, I think that she was sitting across from her bedroom door with her back leaning up against where the bathroom would be behind her. So when she looked at her bedroom door knob, she could see the bathroom. So she could see actually specifically the bathtub in the doorknob. So she doesn't have her phone. She's just sitting there. And so she's staring at the bedroom doorknob when suddenly she sees something in the bedroom doorknob that would terrify her. She starts to slowly but surely see a very tall, skinny woman with a frayed nightgown on, long, wet, black hair, the hair covering her face. And this woman is trying to slowly get up out of the bathtub, but she's old, so she's shaking as she's standing up. Now, she didn't see her face at this point because of her hair, and she wasn't about to wait to find out, so she just booked it downstairs. Now, number one, this could not have been her sister. Her sister was definitely in the bedroom, and her sister was short with strawberry blonde hair. So that was the end of that, or so she thought, because the next day she got up to get ready for school. She's almost finished getting ready, and she looks down at the doorknob to grab it when she's met with not her reflection, but another reflection. The reflection of the woman, except for this time she can see her face. She was smiling, but her smile was wrong. She had super sharp teeth. She described it as like shark teeth. She just stood there, frozen. For about 3 seconds, she was looking at this person's reflection until she screamed, ran into her room, and jumped up on the top bunk of her bunk bed. Well, later on, her and her sister went to her friend Charlotte's house. That's what I'm going to call her for the story. Now, her sister was friends with Charlotte's little sister, so they both went over there to have a sleepover. They were having a fun time, just messing around with their siblings, when finally their parents came up and said, listen, it's time to go to bed because we're going to bed now. Now, they're all talking when Riley actually starts to drift off to sleep. Now, this was uncommon for Riley. Riley did not like to be the first one to fall asleep at sleepovers because she felt uncomfortable and vulnerable by doing so. She didn't like it when other people were awake when she wasn't. When suddenly around 12 o'clock in the morning, they hear 3 loud knocks coming from the bedroom door, right in the center of the door. Charlotte then chucks a stuffed animal at Riley and says, you heard that too? And they both just stare at each other with these scared expressions on their face because they're terrified. But they both decided to just drift off and fall back asleep because they didn't want to bring more attention or show fear to whatever this was. The next morning, they wake up and they're talking it over and they realize a few things. Number one, their parents were asleep with their dog in their bedroom, so it could not have been them. 2, their sisters were most likely asleep. They would have heard giggling if they weren't. 3, her cats can't knock, obviously. And 4, her floorboards are incredibly squeaky. So it would have been damn near impossible for them not to hear somebody walking up to the door before knocking on it. They even tested it out. Then they both asked their sisters at breakfast, and they both seemed genuinely confused about what they were talking about. And apparently neither of them are very good liars. Now, the scary thing is with each incident, Riley felt watched. And with each incident, it felt stronger. So almost as if whatever this was just getting stronger and stronger with each thing it did to scare her. Almost like it was getting closer to her. At home, she was getting ready to go to bed, unpacking all of her stuff, when suddenly she feels the biggest pair of eyes staring at her. She's frozen in place. She physically can't move, almost like this thing has power over her. Then, from the corner of her eye, she sees a very tall figure watching her from her closet. She then breaks out of whatever paralysis or trance that she is in, and she runs to her mom's room. She asks her, "Mom, were you just standing in my closet staring at me?" And her mom obviously responds with no. Like, looks at her like she's a little insane. Well, a few days go by and she's at a sleepover with two of her friends. We'll call them K and N. So they're all watching scary videos and shows because it is October and they like spooky things, when N suggests that they download a spirit box app. Now, Riley didn't personally believe in these things because she felt like they just spit out random words to scare you, but they download it anyways because they're teenagers and they're just trying to have fun. When suddenly the spirit box starts spitting out things that don't seem like coincidences at all. Now, before they opened the app, they were actually talking about Britney Spears, and she doesn't remember why or what they were talking about, but they were talking about her. When they opened the app, the first thing the app says is Britney. Well, cool, the app is probably listening to them, right? Well, then her TV starts acting up when it had never acted up before. It starts turning off and on by itself. Probably a glitch, right? Then the app spits out television. What is that? Now they're freaked out. They take a break because they're scared, but they come back to it eventually. They turn on the app and the app spits out moth. Well, moth has nothing to do with them, so they're like, okay, whatever. Not 5 minutes later, a moth appears in the living room. So they take a broom and they're trying to kill this moth. It takes them 20 minutes to kill it, and they finally do. She actually said that she still has this moth somewhere, she just doesn't know where it is. Which I kind of think it's funny that she has a lost dead moth in her house that she like kept for keepsake, and she doesn't know where it is. But I digress. You'd think they'd be done there, right? No. They decided that they wanted to play the game Cat Scratch. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, you are supposed to lay in your friend's lap while they are dead silent, and you rub their temples and repeat this story. There once was an old lady who owned a cat. The cat was very nice. It meowed and purred. One day, the cat got hit by a car and died. Cat scratch, cat scratch, cat scratch. The old lady got a new cat. That cat was very mean. It hissed and it clawed. Cat scratch, cat scratch, cat scratch. One day, the cat got hit by a car and died. The old lady decided not to get any more cats. Cat scratch, cat scratch, cat scratch. Well, after they're done playing the game, they check her body and she has scratches on her body that are deep, and they disappear in 5 minutes. Now, after the sleepover was over, their friends, each of them, there's 3 of them, saw a moth the following week. Riley was first. She was at work in an office when she sees a moth flying, and it's flying towards her, trying to get closer to her. A day later, her friend N was next, when a moth randomly appears in her room. Now, her room doesn't even have windows in it. Last one was Kay. She was in her kitchen, and a moth appeared in her kitchen and flew past her so fast it grazed her face. So Riley searches up what moths symbolize, and the first thing that pops up is 3 things: transformation, intuition, and the unseen. Now, she was confused about the transformation part, but the intuition was that she was intuitive to the fact that something unseen was following her. The unseen were the spirits who were trying to get her to see them, and she really felt this way. She said that the moths almost seemed like spies to her. Now, the next thing that happened would be at her house. Riley had just gotten done using the bathroom, and when she walked out of the bathroom, she decided to just stand there and stare at her sister as a joke. Her sister looks up at her because she's on her bed, and she just laughs. Now, Riley is laughing too at this point when suddenly their bedroom door just randomly, whoop, slams shut. Now, their bedroom door is already hard enough to shut to begin with because of the weight from sweaters that are hanging on the bedroom door. And how fast it shut scared them. She opened the bedroom door to see if it was her sister, even though she knows it wasn't. She saw her sitting on her bed, and of course her sister is sitting there on the bed with this terrified look on her face. And this just confirmed to her it wasn't her. Confirmed to her more than it already was confirmed. Now, if you think it ends there, you would be wrong. A little backstory for this one. So Riley stays home from school a lot, and on this day, she was staying home from school. Her mom usually picks up her and her sister from school. So as she's in her bedroom, she hears her mom yell up the stairs, "Hey, your sister's at a friend's house and I have to go back to work." Okay, that's normal. Her mom leaves and she goes downstairs in the basement to play her guitar, when she randomly hears footsteps and voices coming from upstairs. Now, it doesn't register to her at first until she hears a big bang in the living room, then realizing that there's no one home. Maybe she misheard her mom. Maybe she meant her and her sister's friend were there. So she does the thing that you shouldn't do, and she goes upstairs. She walks up the stairs and she goes to open the basement door, and it will not open. It takes a good 2 minutes to open when she had never had a problem with it prior. She goes into the living room and yells, "Is everything all right?" No one is there. She then goes into the kitchen. She sees that her sister's water bottle and lunch bag are on the kitchen table, but no sister. So she calls for her and she looks up the stairs as she's calling for her sister. No answer. Then she looks on the stairs and she sees that her sister's cell phone is on the stairs. So she thinks, great, her sister is there. So she grabs her phone and she goes to walk upstairs to give it to her and goes into the bedroom. She stands in the doorway. She calls her sister's name. No answer. Now, there is a blanket that covers her sister's bed, because remember, there's bunk beds, almost like a fort, so you have to move the blanket in order to see if somebody is there. So she goes over and she moves the blanket and she says, "Stop ignoring me." No one is there. She gets scared at this point and she runs back downstairs to the basement. She waits till her father gets home, but in the interim, she's hearing these voices and these footsteps upstairs. The last incident happened on Halloween. Now, she went trick-or-treating with her friend who we're gonna call C. They had collected a lot of candy that night and they were ready to go home. So they're walking on their way home and they hear a noise coming from a dark alleyway. They look down the alleyway and they see this tall, dark figure just standing there, waving at them. They are terrified. They both look at each other with these horrified looks on their faces because they both realize that they're terrified, and not because they're about to get kidnapped type of terrified, but because that is something inhuman terrified. They then feel this huge coldness coming their way and they hear this loud scream and then they just book it. Well, November comes and she decides that she's going to tell her father what is happening. Apparently her father has a stronger connection to the spiritual side. He gets this weird look on his face and then immediately sages the house. Nothing major has happened since, but she still to this day feels eyes on her. So what do you guys think about the story? First of all, the beginning of the story is so creepy. When she sees that old lady, I genuinely do not know what I would do if I saw that. I think I would lose my ever-loving mind, but that was terrifying, especially when she saw her face. Ugh, I cannot. What do you guys think that was? Do you think that was something like demonic or like an evil spirit, or was she hallucinating? Like, I don't think she was hallucinating, especially with everything else that happened. Then it brings me to my next point, which is the spirit box. Those things I've always thought were fake. But this story leads me to believe otherwise, because how did it know about the moth appearing? That's weird. Like the Britney thing, I can understand maybe the app is listening to them, because I truly believe our phones listen to us. In fact, I know it. But the TV and the moth thing is weird. That's weird, and it's a little terrifying to me. And the moth symbolizing something unseen, transformation and intuition, the unseen part really freaked me out. And even the intuition part, like kind of dead on, right? I just think that's weird. I want to know, has anyone used a spirit box before on their phone, and has anyone ever had any weird experiences with it that were like uncanny or just strange or not coincidences whatsoever? Definitely drop those in the comments if you have. Also, lastly, which brings me to another part that freaked me out a little bit, and that was the thing in the alleyway. The scream makes me think that the person, or not person, whatever it was starting to chase them. So thank God they started running, because who knew if that was human or not? Human or not, either way, that's scary. Someone just standing in the dark alleyway waving at some kids, like not okay. And if it was something else, also gross. But she would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this, and so would I. So please drop them down in the comments. She will be looking at the comments. Which then leads me to my favorite part, part, which is the shout outs. Lisa Clements 1185 or Lessa, I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but I love that you follow me on both here and TT. Thank you so much for that type of support. That means so much to me. I love that you like my scary stories enough to watch them here and then go to my TT and watch them. The support, I just can't even tell you how much it means to me. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for leaving comments and pushing out my video. It means the world to me and I love you. My next one is Brandy May 678. You said that you love listening to my scary stories and I love that so much. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for loving my stories. That means everything to me. And thank you for being a part of my little community here and commenting and pushing out my videos. You have no idea what that means to me. You are the best girly and I love you. With that being said, my name is Kaisa and I tell true scary stories on here every other night that you guys either submit to me or recommend to me. So if you're into that, hit that subscribe button so that you can get notified next time I tell a true scary story. I also do shorts on the nights that I don't tell the longer stories. And I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Keep sending me your scary stories and your recommendations. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.